He'll give you refuge from the storm. A place where you trade your dark sky to beaming rays of sunshine. He'll be your lily in your valley, and he'll bloom all the time. I found the lily in my valley. I found strength when I was worn. Found a place to leave my burden. He gave me refuge from the storm. A place where I trade my dark sky to beaming rays of sunshine. I found the lily in my valley, and he blooms all the time. Yes, he's the lily in my valley, and he blooms all the time. All the time. Tangled up in my cord.
Thank you, Ray. Good to see you breathing better. Did they fix you up on Monday, or what did they do? Or Thursday? Did they fix you up on Thursday, or what happened?
Well, I went up and just had a consult. They told me to take more of my allergy medication.
Yeah, that's all it took, huh? That's really good. It's good to see you and hear you singing again. New Testament reading today is from Mark 12, 28 to 34. One of the scribes came near and heard them disputing with one another. And seeing that he answered them well, he asked him, "Which commandment is first of all?" And Jesus answered, "The first is, 'Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. You shall love your God, the Lord your God, with all your heart, and with all your soul, with all your mind, and with all your strength. The second is this, you shall love your neighbor as yourself. There is no other commandment greater than these." Then the scribe said to him, "You are right, teacher. You have truly said that he is one, and besides him there are no other. And to love him with all the heart, and with all the understanding, and with all the strength, and to love one neighbor as oneself. This is much more important than whole burnt offerings and sacrifices." When Jesus saw that he answered wisely, he said to him, "You are not far from the kingdom of God." After that, no one dared ask him any questions. Laws are funny things in our country, and you've heard me before. I research and find a few that are kind of amusing and tell you about them. Well, this time I looked all around the world to see what other weird things people are up to. I found out that in Milan, Italy, it's illegal not to smile. You have to smile. I found out you can't chew gum in Singapore. Can't have any gum. You can't climb trees in Oshawa, Canada. You can't have a dirty car in Abu Dhabi, and you can't clean your car in public. And if you have a black car, you can't drive it on Sundays in Victoria, Australia. And by the way, I found out that it's illegal to sing in your car in West Virginia. It is. Car is a sin, and it's not. Badly, Maybe I'm sinning every time I sing. But we think about Christians as law-abiding citizens. And we should be. But there are laws now that would be sinful to obey. And there are more coming. There's laws like that in our country. I think it's going to get worse. And we are told by God to love thy neighbor as yourself. And that's a law, that's a commandment. You heard it again this morning from Leviticus. Jesus repeated it a couple of times in the New Testament. We know that every sin we might commit stems from failing to love our neighbors. Everything. Any sin you can think of, there's someone you're not loving. Even if it's something like your neighbor's house is for sale and you don't mow your grass for 2 months. That's a sin against your neighbor. That's not loving them, to have your house look like crap when they're trying to sell their house. That's not good. All the sins come from not loving your neighbor, but we also know that some people are really hard to love. Really hard. Sometimes it's hard to love the person next door with another candidate's sign in their yard. Labels and symbols separate us from each other. Many people don't even bother to try to understand people or disagree with them or on one side or another. They just hate them. Rainbow flags and MAGA hats oppose each other. Even hanging on the American flag outside, even an American flag is a symbol for one side or the other to hate or to love. And there are lots of other flags that make people angry with each other. Some resort to tearing the flags down and run off with campaign signs or damage cars with a bumper sticker they don't like. We're so polarized and people hate each other without even thinking, and it's going to get worse. No matter who wins in November, it's going to get worse. Many people have even started becoming violent with each other. Some are picking up their guns. And while many of these might be atheists or another religion, there are many who are Christians or call themselves Christians. You know, it's all the work of Satan, of course. And I want to tell you here, so it's clear, this is not a political sermon. I'm talking about the state of our country. It's just the state of things. The tool Satan uses more and more are labels, and I hate labels. I really hate labels. They've affected my family, they've affected my work. I am not, by the way, a conservative or liberal or moderate preacher. None of those words are in the Bible. Okay? There's no conservative says this and liberal says, there's none of that in there. I'm none of those things. I'm a Bible preacher. Straight up Bible preacher. Don't call me any label. Don't tell me there's a label that fits, because it doesn't. It's only this book. You and I are labeled. You're labeled being here today. You have a label on you for being here. Some people hate you because you came here. It doesn't matter if the labels are accurate. It doesn't matter if they're true. Only the labels. And they're everywhere. Do you know that in 2024, there are 107 gender identities? 107. All labels, right? And they pick the words, and this is who they are and who those are. I couldn't begin to name even 5. But if I misgender somebody in our country and some places around the world, I can be arrested. I don't even know what the genders are. If I misgender someone at work, I can be fired. You don't even want to talk anymore. I just see boys and girls, men and women. That's not it. You got to know the label. And people don't wear them on their foreheads. You know, they don't have a, this is who I am on their forehead. They might sign their emails that way, but even then I'm likely to forget when I run into them. I'm required to recognize and understand 107 genders. It can be hard to love your neighbors. It really can. But failing to do that is a sin. And Jesus knew it would be hard to do. You know the Good Samaritan story from the Bible. We know that story, right? The Jew, I'm not going to read the whole thing or anything to you. I'm just going to tell you the story quickly. The Jewish man got beaten and robbed and left naked in a ditch bleeding on the road. The priest came up the road and saw him there and crossed the road and walked around him. A Levite came up the road and saw him there, crossed the road and walked around him. A Samaritan man came up and saw him there and picked him up and cleaned him off and took him to a hotel, you know, some inn, and set him up there and paid for his care and went on his way. And from that we have, in Samaria, that's not there.